So ladies and gentlemen, in this video I'm going to run you through exactly how to make a aesthetic personal brand on Instagram, whether you're starting an Instagram from new and you want to scale it just on there, or you have a YouTube channel and you want to start scaling on Instagram. It really doesn't matter. This video is going to run you through the 4 steps that I take my clients through, but in a less specialized way, to give you a rough understanding for those who are beginning in this space. And as you can see, it's a kind of an odd setup. I'm currently on holiday. Put it this way, it's a bit of a weird setup going in front of me. Here is that setup right now. I'm filming it. God. So as we can see, we have the 4 steps. Now, to build the aesthetic personal brand, we want to start with your market research, your inspiration to what you actually want your brand to look like. First of all, what I want you to do is find Instagram accounts that stand out to you. And this because you don't want to reinvent the wheel, you just want to take what already works and put your own twist on it. You need to start somewhere with a template. And that template we're building out for you today. Here are some examples of different kinds. Now, in this case, you've got a fan page, which focuses on stylistic, luxury, lifestyle, and so on. Now, on the other hand, Wojtek, an entrepreneur who works with Daniel Dallin, is actually more focused on the work side of things. And he's got that Polaroid look, the film camera look. And as you can see, they're very aesthetic, nice, clean traveling shots and so on. And then finally, Alex Moldovanos. We're taking some kind of niche examples here because we don't want to focus on the main industry leaders. In this case, he's got an aesthetic Instagram account too. He is the filmmaker and head of production in Iman Gadzhi's team. What you can understand is roughly what they look like. Now, the reason why they all kind of look similar, and I say that, is because they look professional, they look aesthetic, and they all kind of fit in with the same similar theme of entrepreneurship and wanting to excel, a better lifestyle, and so on. What I want you to personally do is select 3 of your favorite ones that you have in mind. These can be any kind of pages, theme pages, personal brands, etc. Just people that you enjoy or the content that they put out. And more importantly, you have to take this into account. They have to be similar to your situation. If not, how are you going to do it? Your personal brand can't be themed around cars if you don't have any. Picture the same lifestyle as they have in Miami when you live in Europe. It just doesn't make any sense. Don't rely on those pages that have luxury goods and so on, and rather just stick to what you do your best. Here's a little breakdown of what I found within those 3 that I selected. Now, these are kind of my favorites, and the reason why I say that is because if we look at Catch Canary, he's got a very different color scheme throughout his pages, and it normally orientates around white, reds, greens, and other shades, of course. Now, this obviously has to do with cars, luxury, industry, culture, and these go hand in hand, of course. Motorsport is heavily related to the colors red, for example, and then luxuriness always comes in shades of darker colors. Culture also orientated around bright, colorful things, and then the industry again to those kind of shades, and also the red is obviously found in a lot of industrial things and kind of represents the Marlboro livery, if you know what I mean. Now, in general, they all use similar kind of color tones, and they also choose what's most cinematically best as well. Subconsciously, you don't realize this, but red and green are opposites on the color spectrum. Opposites in the color spectrum kind of complement each other in a cinematic way. Now, if you take ugly colors and then you choose opposites, they're not going to look good. Let's be real. But if you choose blues and oranges, that's what you commonly see in cinematography. Very similarly, you have green and orange reddish. These 2 are complementing each other as well in a cinematic tone. Now, they're not very strong. It is scientifically, yes, that way. Now, all of them do actually follow these color tones. Like, you'll see it consistently throughout their content. And the thing is that it should primarily just be shades, which is your white, your black, your gray, etc. And then you have 2 secondary color tones, which should again complement each other under this research and inspiration section of the video. First of all, I want you to choose 4 words that describe your page, just like I showed you for all the other ones. Now, then you're gonna go into here and then think around your color palette. Again, this doesn't have to be super serious, like I'm just pointing it out because on a cinematic and aesthetic way, this is an important section, but you really don't have to deep it that much. As long as you have your shades in place, just use black, use white, use grays, you're good. And lastly, tip, take into account where how and what your pictures are going to be. You know, you want to make sure that it's easy. You're not doing anything that you can't physically do. And if you're taking pictures, what I always recommend is that you have a Pinterest board of some sort and you have a list of ideas that you've already written down into your story. If you check, for example, my notes, I did this on the way here. Now I haven't ticked off the ones that I've actually done, and those are the ones that I've ticked off, but I've done way more than those in those sections. So really the rest I don't even really need. Moving on to the next section, we want to create the brand, the framing of how you present yourself, the literal framing of how you present yourself on your Instagram. Now, here are some examples of good profile pictures. These are clear, these are understandable, and you can easily recognize a person or a face. You can tell simply by their face who they are, and it's not difficult compared to their background to differentiate them. Here are some images that aren't the best. First of all, you got this. You can't see this dude. You simply don't know who he is. You got the background, which is not too great. This one of Jordan Brown, like, I respect the guy a lot. However, you can barely see that it's him, and on top of that, he blends in with the cushions. Like, he is the cushions. You see what I mean? This is the same as that, and this is the same as that. And so it kind of all blends in with the same colors, and I personally find this a very distracting one. And then the worst of the worst is the user basic photo. So as you can tell, yeah, good images, but you can't clearly tell who they are at first sight. And that is the most important thing. These are good images. Like, this is a cool photo, this is a cool photo, but they shouldn't be profile pictures. Follow your brand colors again. You want to make sure that it all lines up with each other. If you look even here, the colors of the logo on the profile picture are literally part of their brand, as you can tell. And the same goes here with the shades, and here again with the orange and the darker tones as well. So it's like, it doesn't really have to be implemented, but you do it subconsciously, right? When it comes to the bio and the handle, keep it simple and clean. Have your full name as the name. Don't add some stupid stuff in there. You know, you don't need to have threads. You can if you want, if you really want, but it's just extra clutter that no one cares about. So don't actually. Simple message that aligns with your brand. Again, this has to do with Daniel Dallin, which he is kind of known for his ability to speak Chinese in business. I don't know what it means, but I'm assuming something to do with his brand, his business, and so on. And Jamie Robbins, his business partner, who is simply saying building digital brands, and then has his YouTube link right underneath. Now, what I would recommend is link to your primary business. So in this case, it was his YouTube channel, or you have a custom website like Daniel Dallin does, which is his personal branding website, which looks something like this. And then you have like a link tree of custom links that go all the way down. And this is a perfect scenario for something clean, clutterless. It just looks great with the socials at the top over here as well. Now, here's what to do for the handle. Take your name, you just pop it together. If it's taken again, add one more letter. That's all you gotta do. Casper with another R, Verbeek. Simple as that. And please don't add this. It's not that bad. Pay for verification on Instagram, get the blue tick, and your life will be so much better because it looks more aesthetic. You're also more professional, and people will respect you instantly way more. Now, when it comes to posts, you really want to only think about carousels and reels. Now, when it comes to carousels, just do aesthetic roll of photos, one theme, nice and aesthetic, and then relevant to your brand. Have a unique photo in there too. Good song to match everything together, and it should just look really nice. When I say theme, I mean more as in, if you're going to travel, for example, do that trip. Don't go into different trips and so on. If you're doing one of you in green nature, don't do it of Dubai skyline as well. Here is a simple rotation that you can come up with, and when I was talking about my shot list, this is something that I would have in mind. Have a picture of you traveling, working, then maybe at a restaurant, a candid photo. For those who don't know, that is a photo taken of you in the moment, so you're not posing for it. Maybe your outfit, your car, selfie, screenshots, and a funny photo. Maybe a candid one, could be any sort. Here is a simple rotation from Daniel Dallin for one of his. You have one with his friends, really nice film shot, of course. And then you got a screenshot with him and his mom showing he cares about his family, adds a bit of authenticity. Him doing a presentation, some of his watches, which is absolutely insane. Him working on future projects. A lot of his photos are orientated around his work because that's what his brand is all about. And then a candid shot of him working again. Close up of his brand, which is Lens, something just to flare it up a bit. And then a funny photo with him and a dog, like a selfie. Looks kind of fun. That would be ideal scenario. You want to essentially keep this Pinterest look from the outside. You can tell the cars, the cool fits, the Miami vibes. That's Brez's Pinterest front look. And on the other hand, George Heaton has a lot more green, a lot more sporty, a lot more healthy kind of look to it. And that's what I mean. That central look, it's green, it's black, it's grey, it's white. Here it's multicolored, it's black, it's cars, it's money. Now when it comes to reels, you want to essentially do mostly professional high quality reels. In this case, I've got 3 examples here, which we can't go over right now. These are basically like little trailers for your videos and so on. You can have a look at them yourself. Just to make sure, take the nicest shot, put it as the thumbnail, and then use short, simple phrases as the caption, essentially, with maybe 2 to 4 hashtags. Make sure to space it out underneath. And then I've gone ahead and made a simple prompt for you guys, and you can go check this out. And you can actually go through this template yourself on my free community. Well, I'm going to link it in the template in the video resources tab, and there you'll be able to go through all my other files and this one in specifics as well. Now actually we launched a clipping course on there, and you can go directly earn money off of me. We're going to give away 300 euros in the first month just to see how things go, and then from there we're going to scale it to the moon. So we got to get as much clips in as possible, get the views up so I can start paying you, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I've been hearing about this guy called, I forget his name. What's his name? Now, stories. Stories is another key point because this is what's going to keep people on the long term. When they follow you, they don't expect posts literally 24/7. They expect stories 24/7 because these are on a day-to-day basis. Now, here are the 3 main points to keep in mind. When posting some photos, maybe do 2 to 5 pictures in one go. You don't really want to do one by itself. It doesn't really make any sense. And second of all, they shouldn't give away too much, if you know what I mean. It should kind of be like a trailer, a little story, a little snippet of what's going on, but not the big thing. You want to also, in that case, not use the best pictures. And what I mean by that is you keep the best pictures of a situation for the post. You don't want to repeat content. So make sure it's not too big. Make sure the best photos aren't on there. And in general, will look something like this, kind of sneak peek at all this kind of stuff. But for the launch comes out, and just some nice photos, but not anything post-worthy, if that makes sense. Now, when it comes to the highlights, just make a simple list. Have some nice front covers on there. Like, for example, what I did today. Today I went on a ridiculously long hike. Now, on the hike, I took a bunch of pictures, a video, more pictures, and so on. Uploaded it to a story, which is under my travel, like under my nature kind of section. We'll go into our highlights in just a second, but those are not even close to the best pictures that I took. And I only did 5 stories just to keep it fun. When it comes to the highlights, in this case, you want to choose locations, different themes, different events, but you don't want to make it boring. You want to be able to make it general enough that you can basically stop anything into about 5 to 7 different highlights. You don't want to go too far over that because in a page they only hold 7, and that's probably what looks best. So anywhere in that region is probably best. So nice front covers, simple, different per highlight, easily distinguishable between each one. And yeah, again, recommend not to actually do it into different cities and so on, because that means you don't leave a lot of room. I would rather put it under sections like traveling, sport, Europe, etc. And if you're under business, you obviously want to improve your conversion rates and your traffic from your Instagram. And this is the king himself. I want to shout this guy out. He's absolutely insane. He's called Nick Setting, and this is the kind of stuff that he leads you through. He'll take a nice picture, you can go have a look at that, and then it will lead you through this process of showing you what he's done for his clients and eventually landing on, you know, the extreme wins that he does for the guys he works with. And that is something that you could easily replicate, a sequence that allows people to see the progress and results of the clients that you work with. That's it for the video. Hope you enjoyed. Of course, go check it out in the free community that I made for you guys. And more importantly, if you want to work directly with me or stay updated with the things that are going to be launched in the future by me, go sign into a waiting list. We're only allowing the first 200 people to get early access into what we're launching very, very soon. If you want to work directly with me, go contact me on Instagram. My DMs are open. Hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you next week.